explanation for your Semester 2 final exam for our unit, Social Issues in Britain and Beyond. So for the past several weeks, we focused on 3 separate social issues and how literature was impacted by them. So your job for this assignment is that you're going to take it a bit further. Your project is going to be divided into 2 parts. So part 1, you'll complete research on your chosen topic, and you'll incorporate research strategies that you learned from our Navigating Digital Information unit as you find information to support your essay. And then that part 1 will be worth 25 points. Then part 2, you're going to be required to write a 6-paragraph research essay that incorporates the lessons we've learned throughout the semester. Your essay will be worth 75 points, okay? You'll have 3 topics to choose from. You'll have men and women, wealth and poverty, and oppression. So for the men and women option, your task will be to consider how the roles of men and women discussed in literature were impacted by the time they were written. Then you will consider how the roles of men and women have either changed or stayed the same in our world today. And then finally, you'll be asked to analyze how literature impacts the world around us. For the wealth and poverty option, it's very similar. You'll be asked to consider how the topic of wealth and poverty and literature was impacted by the time it was written, and then how these issues have either changed or stayed the same in our world today. And then again, you'll be asked to analyze how literature impacts the world around us. And then with oppression, you'll be asked to address how it was impacted by the time it was written, and then whether oppression has changed or stayed the same in our world today, and how literature impacts the world around us. So you'll pick one of these topics. Each one of your paper, regardless of the topic, will have these very specific sections. You'll have an introduction, background, modern connection with 2 paragraphs, impact on literature on society, and a conclusion and a works cited page. Your essay should follow standard MLA format. So I should see 12-point font, Times New Roman, double-spaced, correct in-text citations, and do not use informal language. I should not see the use of first or second person pronouns within your writing. So let's talk about specifically what you will write in each portion of your essay. So for your introduction, you'll have this overall focus of your topic background, how it was specific in literature, and its connection to the modern world. Each option has a thesis statement template that you can use, or you can use your own thesis statement. But you need to make sure that you're encompassing all the ideas that are required within your paper. I should see a hook, an overview, and then a transition into your thesis statement. The thesis statement should be the last sentence of your introductory paragraph. Then you're going to have to write the background for your essay. So this is where you're going to be connecting your topic to the time period in which it's written. So you are going to talk about what was the relationship dynamics between men and women during the 1700s, or you'll talk about how the impact of poverty during that time period, or you'll talk about the impact of oppression. But the big overall idea is that how do you see this demonstrated in the literature we studied during this unit? You will choose any text from the unit and examine how it reflects the time period in which it was written. So the Enlightenment, Romantic period, Victorian age, modern, and postmodern. When you're writing your paragraph, you need to make sure that you are discussing key points that are relevant to the time period. So I'm looking for that information from that time period. Go back to that first week of the unit when we go over what was happening during those different literary periods, and give specific examples and evidence from the texts that you are analyzing to show how they connected to the era. You should be using quotes and evidence from your selected literary text to support your claims. Do not summarize your text. We all read it. We know your job is to talk about how it demonstrates your topic in that specific time period. You should be pulling out small, specific details in order to explain how it fits into that time period. For the modern connection, this is where you're doing your research. Regardless of what topic you're doing, you are going to have to make a modern connection. This is where you're going to do your research and answer the question, has your topic changed or remains constant from the 1700s to today? So pick a side. Have they changed or have they remained constant? Are societal values and conditions and behaviors changing at all or continuing with little improvement? So you'll find the answer to your argument here, and you're going to conduct research. You are required to use at least 2 sources in this portion of your essay. You are required to incorporate at least 1 quote from each source. I should not see a summary of what you have read in your research. Use the sources to help strengthen your claims. Okay? This should not be a summary. This should be an incorporation of your ideas and using evidence to support your response. Finally, and this is the same for each option, you're going to discuss the impact of literature. How and why does literature help to inspire societal change? You're going to use specific literary texts from this unit to support your ideas. You should spend at least 1 paragraph discussing this, and you should bring in at least 1 to 2 additional stories from our unit to support your ideas. So I should not see the same story that you talked about in your background. I should see different stories here. Okay, so as you draft this portion of your essay, I should not see a summary again. I should not see a summary of the text. Talk about the impact of literature. Talk about how those stories impacted a society. Bring in specific examples to support your claims. Finally, conclude your essay. This should not be a complete repeat of your intro, okay? Think about what you want your reader to take away from this essay. You should conclude your paper with a final lasting thought. This should not be a mere reflection of your introduction. You can circle back to your introduction and connect it, but it should not be repeated information here. Finally, your works cited page. You are required to have a works cited page for all of the research in your paper. You do not need to have the literary texts in your works cited page, but I will expect that you use correct in-text citations within your paper. If you do not provide a works cited page and or if you fail to put in in-text citations within your paper, and that includes the literary texts that we studied, it will result in an automatic 0 until you can provide that evidence, because without giving credit to your sources, it is considered plagiarism. So make sure that you have those in-text citations in that works cited page. Okay, so the first step you should take is select your topic. Then you're going to complete your research. This is due on Friday, April 16th. There's going to be a separate video in the Dropbox that goes over this, but the expectation here is that you will gather sources. You're gonna start gathering your evidence for your paper. So for the background portion of your assignment, you'll discuss, you'll answer these questions. You'll collect that text. Part 2, this is the portion where you'll be doing that research. You'll need to make sure that you gather those quotes and you find that helpful information. I'm going to be expecting that you apply those skills that you learned about in our Navigating Digital Information unit and be specific about your explanation here. Okay? Once you complete your research, you're going to start writing your essay. You'll get a few weeks to do this. I will carve out a time each week that you will have dedicated to writing your essay. If you struggle with intros and conclusions or incorporating evidence, how to create a works cited page, revising and editing, there's all these helpful resources in these pages in here that can help you with that part of the paper. I am going to be expecting to see correct use of transitional phrases. All those grammar activities that we learned about earlier in the semester, I'm going to be seeing that those lessons are applied in your paper. And then finally, double check your work and then submit it. The essay is due on May 7th and it's worth 75 points. There is a rubric in here. This is exactly how I will be grading your essay, so there shouldn't be any surprises here. I'm going to be grading it for thesis statement and organization, your ability to provide evidence and support, your intro paragraph, your concluding paragraph, language and skills, and your MLA format. So I am going to be grading you for all of these things. So you want to make sure that you are paying attention to what those expectations. If you have any questions about this essay, let me know, and good luck.